Hello, ladies and gentlemen of TOC Town. This is Lady Nick, and today is Chief Artisan Thursday. We had Stephanie Logan come in for Travel Tuesday, and if you listen to the podcast that we aired on December the 2nd, you probably heard her mention that she's been in the cosmetology field for more than 30 years now. So we invited her back to share some of her experience with her as well as her travel journey, down the road of health and well-being. So Stephanie, why don't you share that side of your life with our TLC Town audience?
Hi there, TLC Town. Thank you for having me back, Ms. Bashard. It's an honor to be here again speaking with your audience. Yeah, as I shared with you in our previous conversation, I have been in the cosmetology industry for a very long time. In fact, I received my license in cosmetology from Pivot Point International way back in 1983. That's probably before some of your audience members were
Yeah, I'm not
born.
gonna date where I was.
It's all right.
Oh my
But I
goodness,
was
but
fresh
that's
out of high school.
right.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
No, I'm just like, you know what? For this is a great timing for our session because the holiday is here, and I'm
Mhm.
sure there are women who need advice on what to do with their hair, especially if they're a small business owner. That's one thing I
Mhm.
see sometimes when you attend functions and events. That's one focus you got to pay attention to.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in my career, I've seen quite a few trends come and go,
Talk
but
about that.
I'm really glad to see a particular trend I see becoming stronger, and that's our sisters wearing their natural hair.
I
Our
know,
hair is
right?
so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And believe me, I grew up in the age of the relaxer, or some people call it the creamy crack.
Mhm.
I grew up in that age, and I want my hair straight too. So, I went that route. But now it's natural. In fact, I would say at least 85% of our salon clientele is natural.
Okay.
That's not to say that we're off of doing relaxers. We'll do them for the people who require them. But, if we can convince people to go natural, particularly if they're having some hair issues already,
Mhm.
um, then, natural is the way to go. And I love seeing our little girls wearing their natural hair all over their head. It's just so gorgeous. It's so gorgeous. And it,
That's what
it
I'm
does a
like.
lot for their self-esteem, and to know that they're just as beautiful, or even more beautiful than some other kids with long, straight, silky hair. But not that's not to take anything away from, the women that do have long, silk, streaky, straight hair. We know there's a lot of sisters out there wearing the weave, and that's nothing wrong with that. That's a great tool as
Viable
well, a
option.
great trend. Yes, yes, it is about options and variety and flexibility. But having a weave is another great way of allowing your relaxer to grow out and not putting a lot of stress and strain on the hair throughout the process.
Okay,
So
then
those are
let's
the two
let's
trends.
let's take that focus since we're talking about that because I know a few moms that have actually done the journey of taking them off the relaxer to the natural. Let's say someone's listening right now and had that thought toying around their head because I know I have. I had to go back, unfortunately, but eventually I will be
Hmm.
transitioning to a natural hair because a lot of what they're telling me that when they transition their daughter into just a natural look, the the texture of their hair is so soft and healthy. It was amazing. They couldn't believe
Yes.
how beautiful their hair was, and they were in the relaxer world, getting their hair done
Hmm.
every other week. Getting the ends trim. So if
Right.
someone is out there wanting to transition from the relaxer to the natural, what are some of your advices that you would have for them?
First and foremost, I would suggest that you speak with your hairstylist. Don't try and do this on your own. It is a process, um, physical, mental, and emotional process. So don't do it on your own. If you seek a professional's assistance, they can help navigate you through the process with minimal damage to your hair because as the relaxer grows out, there's a weak point at which the natural hair and the relaxed hair meet. And if you're not very careful, that hair becomes very vulnerable at that point and it can break very easily. Therefore, then you got to start all over with short hair. So that would be the number one tip. Seek a professional stylist assistance in the process of growing out from relaxer to natural. Number two, I would say if you can get braids or even a weave. If a weave is done correctly, it can actually help your hair through the transition. The same with braids, if they're done correctly. And again, seek a professional's assistance because as that hair grows out, as you get the weaves or the braids, we can look at that hair and see how it's doing throughout the transition. What does it need? Do we need to take a rest? Do we need to change the pattern in which the braids are done? Do we need to change the pattern in which the weave is done to take some pressure or stress off of any particular area? So those are things that the professional is trained to look out for. So if you're really going to do it, I would say first and foremost, seek a professional's assistance, and then consider how you're going to grow it out. Are you going to do it? Are you just going to grow it to a certain length and cut it off? Or are you going to do a weave? Or are you going to do braids, even wigs? But you got to be careful with the wigs because, they can put some friction around that hairline, which is very vulnerable. But there are some options, and I'm sure, your stylist can help you with some of those options that will work best for you and your lifestyle.
Now, I know because while you were talking, I was thinking, let's get them mentally prepared for how long that might take. Because sometimes living in the microwave mentality generation, even if you decide to chop it off after a certain length, let's say you decide to take the more scenic route of, a healthier approach to the transition, what kind of time frame are we talking about?
Well, depending on the length that you want your hair to be at its natural state, I would say at least a year,
Okay.
a full year. And usually, when I have clients that want to make that transition, when they're mentally prepared to make that transition, I suggest that they do it over the winter months. Here in Chicago, it's a lot easier to do it over the winter months. One, we have more of them than summer, but then you don't have to fight the heat and the humidity and the reversion that can take place when moisture, interacts with natural hair. So it's a lot simple. It's a lot easier transition, in my opinion, when it's done over the fall and winter months. And then by spring, depending on the client, you might have enough natural length to go ahead and cut the relaxer off because eventually the relaxed hair, it will have to be cut off.
Hmm. Because my thought is,
Okay.
I'm so grateful that we live in a community that we share, just professional information. Because the other thought was, it's easier to go through it in the winter because you can wear wonderful hats. You have
Right.
a, a wonderful assortment of scarves that you can wear. That even, let's say in the summertime, you did want to make the transition. There's still ways where you can, if you having a quote unquote bad hair day or just you haven't learned how to make it cooperate with you, there are other options that we can offer.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
let's take a break right now and we'll be right back to talk about some of your personal journey stories, and we will be returning with Chief Artisan Stephanie Logan. Stay with us.